I'm Emily, and I'm a junior at the University of Pennsylvania. I'm currently studying International Studies and Business in the Huntsman Program, and I'm here to talk about my college. Penn's campus is pretty small compared to a lot of big public schools, but it is also pretty big compared to a lot of small private schools. It's about 6 blocks of main campus, and it's all centered around this street called Locust Walk, which is where people gather and hand out flyers, and all of the buildings surround this one Locust Walk. Around campus, most of the time we walk, and then outside of campus, we either can take the subway or the trolley or the bus. We can also walk because Penn is walking distance from downtown Philly, which is really, really convenient. The campus, to me, stands apart because it's really gorgeous, especially in the fall when the fall leaves come out, and then also in the winter where you can see all the snow hanging from the trees, and they usually decorate the trees with lights, which makes Locust Walk really gorgeous to walk down. On campus, we usually go to each other's dorms, or the dorms have a lot of nice study spaces or lounges for people to hang out in, which is really great. My favorite thing about the campus is its size and location. It's not too small and not too big, and it's walkable distance from every point of the campus to any other point, which is really cool. The location also really cool because it's located walking distance from downtown Philly, but if you want to get there faster, you can always take the trolley or the subway, and there are subway stations right around campus. Also, it's walking distance from a really gorgeous part of West Philly, which is around Baltimore or 40th, and you can see lots of beautiful parks and interesting people walking around, which is really great. My favorite building on campus would be Huntsman Hall, which is the building that houses the Wharton School of Business. It's my favorite building because it's a great place for students to study, and it's a great place for you to get whatever you need. For example, printing or web surfing or any of the school programs that you might not have in your computer. It is a really gorgeous building. It's really modern, and when I first saw it, I thought it was like a department store because there are escalators and glass windows everywhere. Each of the study rooms are open 24/7, and you can always reserve them, which is really great. There are nice whiteboards and computers and anything else you would ever need to study in the group study rooms, and a lot of people actually stay there overnight, which is pretty funny. The food on campus is definitely not the best. I definitely would not recommend eating at the cafeteria for more than the required year, but it's definitely really convenient, especially if you live in one of the dorms, which has a dining hall. Otherwise, there is a variety of food off campus and on the campus for you to buy, which is pretty great. There is a variety of cuisines, and there are also lots of really cool food carts everywhere, which is really cool. Food carts are generally really cheap food and pretty good food, and you can go anywhere to get them. They're all around campus. I would say that one of the special things about campus is that we have a really great gym. Patrick is huge, and it's state of the art, and all of the machines in there are really great. They're really new, and there are always tons of people in there. They also have really cool classes, and during the first week of school, they allow you to go to their classes for free to try them out. And it's really cool because it allows you to be able to exercise while you study. Penn definitely offers a lot of on-campus housing. A lot of kids live in the dorms, especially because we live in West Philly, and it's great that the dorms have good security. West Philly definitely does not have the best reputation for crime, but for being safe. The on-campus housing, there are actually quite a few options. You can live in the high-rises, which are apartment-style dorms. So they're suites, and so you either have a single or a double, and you share with other people in singles or doubles, and you share the living room, the kitchen, and a bathroom. I really like it because I can cook and I can eat whenever I want to, and I have a huge fridge and an oven. I also like only sharing a bathroom with a few people versus the entire floor because it keeps it a lot cleaner. But on the other hand, we have to do our own cleaning. If you live in any of the other dorms, a lot of the time it's usually the general, very typical dorms. So you have a roommate. It's usually a single or double, and you share bathrooms with the whole floor, and the showers are in the bathrooms. And it's usually just like a room, a bed, and a desk. But in that way, you do get to know a lot more people. So I definitely recommend that for freshman year. There are dorms called the Quad where most of the freshmen stay, and most of the freshmen get to know each other during that first year. It also has a beautiful courtyard. The pros and cons to staying on or off campus. There are definitely pros and cons to either. The pros of staying on campus is, of course, the security and getting to know a lot of other people, which you definitely would not get to know otherwise. I would definitely recommend living on campus freshman year, but off campus you definitely can save a lot of money, especially if you live further out in West Philly. And you can definitely guarantee having a single room or having whatever other amenities that you would like. So definitely you have more control over what you have if you stay off campus. But if you stay on campus, there are lots of cool things going on too. My favorite thing about living in the dorms is that the dorms always put on lots of activities. For example, my dorm puts on a lot of activities for going to see shows or putting together theater performances or any final studying breaks. That type of thing really makes me get in the mood for having house spirit, and I really enjoy living on campus for that reason. I also enjoy living on campus because with the college house comes the college house music program, and I play violin and I sing, and so I like having subsidized music lessons through the college house program. They allow me to have a really great professional music teacher teach me for a really great price, so that is really cool also. For my accommodation, I stayed in a regular dorm freshman year because people in the Huntsman program all have to live in this dorm called King's Court, and on the third floor we all live together. It's one of those dorms where I had a roommate and I shared the bathroom with the entire floor. It was really great freshman year because I got to know everyone really well and we got to be really great friends. The second year we decided to move into the high-rises, which is where I had an apartment-style dorm and I had a kitchen and a bathroom shared with only 3 other people. I definitely really enjoyed living in the college houses, especially for the activities and for the music program, so I would definitely recommend that, but I know that my friends also really enjoy living off campus, so I think that either would be a great choice. I would definitely describe my overall experience at college to be really intellectually stimulating, very challenging, very eye-opening in terms of what people in my field do and what people in my field are aiming for. I definitely came from a different background from a lot of people at my school, and it's great to see such international diversity, such cool backgrounds, and like people with lots of different types of thought. I really enjoy speaking to them and discussing with them on current issues or any other random thoughts that I might have. To me, my college's strengths are its professional setting. Definitely the Wharton School has a huge presence on University of Pennsylvania campus, and because of it, I think the pre-professional setting is very strong. In that way, we're definitely much more prepared for the job market. We definitely know more about applying or think about applying earlier. We know more about writing resumes or interviewing, which I think is really great because it definitely prepares you for the real world and doesn't leave you clueless. But at the same time, I think it's a weakness of my school because it definitely makes you grow up a little bit faster and definitely puts you into this mindset of getting a certain job and only getting a certain job, such as in the financial sector. It definitely leaves you to not have as much of a capacity or as much time to do what I guess most people think you do at college, which is being intellectually curious and doing more in-depth humanities type research or scientific research, which I think is a shame. Right now I'm applying to a bunch of companies for summer internships, and while I was trying to figure out what type of sector to apply for, I contacted a few alumni from my school, and it was really great because so many of them were willing to help me. So many of them were willing to talk to me and tell me about their job, tell me about why they chose it or what it's like compared to other people's jobs. And I think that this is definitely part of the Wharton Alumni Network power, and it's definitely one of those things that you get out of being at such a great school. My most challenging experience at school has definitely been getting used to the competitive atmosphere at my school. It's definitely true that most of the people are going for the same jobs and coming in because it's such a pre-professional setting. We definitely know what we want, or even if we don't know what we want, we definitely are aiming for something, and so we definitely are very competitive with each other, especially because all of our classes are set on a curve, especially the Wharton classes, and we definitely are all competing all the time, which was definitely different from high school for me. 3 words I would use to describe my college are intellectually stimulating, challenging, and competitive, which I think you would guess from my descriptions of my college before. My college is very, very international, I think, especially in the Huntsman Program. In the Huntsman Program, we have so many international students, and I think especially because international studies is one of our majors, my advisor and I think the program itself definitely stresses having people that come from very diverse backgrounds and very global backgrounds in terms of knowing, speaking different languages and having lived in different countries or having lived in a multicultural household. I think the average number of languages spoken in my class, like my year of the Huntsman Program, is definitely more than 3, somewhere between 3 and 4, which is absolutely ridiculous. But it's really fun because everybody has really unique perspectives on everything because they don't necessarily come from one specific culture or have grown up in one specific culture, and they definitely understand so many different things from many more angles than one would see from somebody who has maybe had only one culture in his or her life. So in that way, I think that my school, and especially the Huntsman Program, is very, very international and very, very diverse. Most of the academics at my school are quite exceptional, quite elite, and quite well taught. I would say that the departments in my school that stand out are definitely the business school, which is #1 in the world, and I think international relations is also really great, and the medical school is also really great at my school, which is a great opportunity for pre-med students to look at. The Penn Medical School is rated very, very highly. And so the Penn Hospital is also a really great asset to the school. It is difficult to say how easy it is to adapt to the academic system from high school because it definitely just depends on how competitive your high school was. But I would say that it's definitely not terribly hard. It is definitely harder for people who don't speak English as a native language, especially because there's so much reading, and I think a lot of the reading has cultural connotations, but I do think that it's definitely doable, and within a year maybe it will be completely fine. I faced a bit of difficulty getting used to the business courses at my school because I had never taken business before. I didn't do any sort of business in high school. I definitely was not even planning on going to business school, and I actually was planning on never taking any more math classes, which was a joke because most of the business classes are math classes. But other than that, I didn't face very many difficulties. It is definitely hard to get used to the fact that since classes are set on a curve, that most people study individually and not in groups because they are competing with each other. But that's definitely something you realize, and you definitely can find a group of tight friends that you can study with if you really want to. So it's definitely not a huge problem. The courses that I chose to take were mostly within my 2 majors because with the Huntsman Program, you have a lot of requirements to fulfill. You have to fulfill all of the prerequisites of both schools, the College of Arts and Sciences and the Wharton School of Business. And so all of the courses that I've taken so far fulfill some type of requirement. In the international studies major, we have to take language classes and some area studies or history classes. And within the business major, we have to do a lot of the Wharton core, which is a little sampling of every kind of business sector, such as finance, accounting, marketing, management, or operations. So those are the courses that I chose to take the last 2 years. And also, as a component of the Huntsman Program, we are required to study abroad for a semester, and so right now I am studying abroad at Peking University in China because I chose to target Chinese as my target language, and I chose to pursue Chinese as a minor. Mostly because I wanted to become fluent in Chinese, and I definitely also wanted to learn more about Chinese culture and how China is relevant in today's world. My favorite class so far actually was a class that I took to fulfill the arts and letters sector of my Penn College of Arts and Sciences requirements. I took a Shakespeare class this summer with Barbara Riesling, and she was wonderful. It was really great because I really love Shakespeare, and I got to take a course in something that I was really intellectually curious about. I was really motivated to learn more, and she just every time she talked, it was a very small setting, and we were all discussing a lot about what happened in each of these books, and it was really great because we would read them aloud, and she would explain each type of important, meaningful detail to us, and then we would debate about it. And it was just really great because I really love Shakespeare, and I really loved the way she talked about each of the significant events that happened in the Shakespeare plays. My worst class so far was definitely accounting 101, which is financial accounting, and mostly I think that was because it was a large lecture, and I did not like the subject at all. I was very bored with it, and so having that on a Tuesday and Thursday morning every week was not very great. But I definitely know a lot of people who enjoyed accounting and ended up wanting to pursue it as their concentration in business. So it definitely just depends on what you enjoy. One class that you must attend is probably a class that I actually haven't taken yet, but I'm definitely planning to take because everyone talks about it and everyone says that you have to take it. Is a class called Negotiations. It's taught in the business school, and I've definitely heard that it's one of the best classes to take at Penn. It probably is the best class. It's taught very well by a very famous professor, and so I would definitely recommend taking that as well, even though I haven't taken it yet. My favorite professor has actually been my Japanese professor my freshman year, Dr. Linda Chance. She is just wonderful. I took an advanced Japanese readings class with her both semesters, and I actually had to take it with a bunch of graduate students, and she was so nice to me. She was so patient with me, and she taught me so much about what we were reading and what translations there were. She would explain everything in detail, and she allowed us to choose our own readings. She allowed us to expand further into our own interests. Every time I need a recommendation, she always writes one for me, and she always goes the extra mile. Once I actually had to get one for her while I was not on campus, and she mailed it to me on time twice because the first time the mail didn't go through. So she definitely goes the extra step to make sure that I get what I need as a student, and I really, really appreciate it. The amount of homework that is expected is definitely different depending on each class. In the business classes, we usually have problem sets, which are pretty lengthy, but are only due every week or every couple of weeks. I would say that the bulk of my homework actually comes from language classes, because they're definitely more labor intensive and definitely more memorization and less about concepts. Definitely, however, in the business classes and in all the other classes where there's less homework, we definitely have to study a lot on our own, and I think that is definitely what takes up most of my time. A lot of time after classes goes into studying for exams, especially since once midterms start, they seem to never end until finals. There is not much interaction between undergrads and postgrads unless it is initiated by either one. And so I think definitely what I said before about how I asked alumni to talk to me about their jobs is a great example of how undergrads and postgrads could interact and do interact. Overall, I would definitely say that my school is more academically inclined than socially inclined, and even I would say that it's more professionally inclined than academically inclined. Specifically speaking about the Wharton School and the Huntsman Program. the College of Arts and Sciences and the engineering school and the nursing school are definitely probably more academically inclined. But I do think that as a whole, Penn is more professionally inclined than other schools because of the large Wharton business presence. I don't know of any specific cultural activities that we're best known for, but we definitely have a lot of events that are geared towards minorities. More specifically, there are a lot of minority groups on campus, minority-oriented clubs. For example, like Asian Pacific American clubs or Latin American clubs, etc. And put together that they are this United Minorities Council, which is really great because the United Minorities Council then puts on a lot of events where we can go to eat lots of different types of foods or get to know lots of different types of cultures all in one event. We also, every year, the Student Planning Events Committee puts together Spring Fling, which is a really cool event where we get lots of cool artists to come and sing and a bunch of social events and definitely a lot of partying as well. The kinds of social cultural groups on campus, like I said, that there's a lot of groups that are minority oriented. There are also groups that are for community service. There are lots of Greek groups, so those are pretty social. And also there are a lot of pre-professional groups like Pre-Law Women at Penn or Wharton China Business Society, etc. Or Wharton Consulting Club, that type of thing. I am specifically involved in Rotaract, which is a community service club and a professional development club for college students. They are affiliated with Rotary International, and so we are one of many Rotaract clubs around the world, and so we interact with Rotaract clubs around the world as well as do community and international service events, and we put together professional development events for our members. I am also a part of Wharton China Business Society, which works with, companies in China specifically, and also helps to fulfill the interests of people who are interested in China as a field, China as a sector, and doing business with China. During my freshman and sophomore years, I was part of the Spring Tour Committee, in which we organized a spring trip to Shanghai, and for our members or anybody else on campus who wanted to go visit companies in Shanghai and get to know companies, mostly foreign companies in Shanghai, and what they were like and see how they were doing. Also, now I'm part of the career program, which helps put together workshops for the students at our school, as well as bring internship opportunities from Asia and more specifically China to the students at our school, especially because there is a large international student or Asian international student population at our school, and so there are quite a few people who look for internships in Asia and who work in Asia after graduation. From being in these clubs, I got to make a lot of friends, and I learned a lot about what clubs at college is like versus clubs in high school. Definitely being in Wharton China Business Society, it showed me a lot more about business in general and a lot more about the structure of a more professionally minded or professionally oriented club. There's definitely a larger hierarchy in the Wharton China Business Society. It's a huge club, and there are so many different programs, which is really great. There are quite a few camps or trips that are organized by the university or our clubs. Like I said, I was part of the spring tour my freshman year of the Wharton China Business Society, and I actually went on the tour. I would definitely recommend going on any of these trips, because especially as a freshman or sophomore, because you get to know so many other people and you get to know them really well, and it's really great because I definitely think that from that trip I made a few friends who I can say are some of my closest friends at Penn right now. Definitely also great because you make friends of not just your year but people of different years, which you probably cannot do from living in the dorms or from going to class, because most of the time the people there are in your class or in your year. Other camps or trips that are organized by the university include Wharton Leadership Ventures or Wharton mini courses that are put forth by the Wharton School to different places. They usually have some sort of concentration, like retail or social entrepreneurship or that type of thing, and they go and you can get some credit from it, or it can be one of your Wharton Leadership Ventures, which is really great. For Wharton Leadership Ventures, usually the trips are that you go on a mountain trek. For free time, we definitely usually either go out at night, can definitely go to clubs or go to house parties, go to fraternities. Also, we love going to downtown Philly because it's gorgeous and there's so much to do. There's a lot of good shopping or good things to eat. A lot of things in Philly are quite interesting and quite unique, which is really great. And so I love doing those types of things. I love walking around Philadelphia. And the fraternity sorority scene is quite big at Penn. Most people, I would say, actually join a fraternity or sorority while at Penn. There are quite a few fraternity and sorority houses on campus, and it's definitely really great if you're into that. Penn definitely is not a very sports-oriented school. Crew is a popular sport at Penn, basketball, football, but they're definitely not Division I sports type places. Definitely, if you want to go to a sports school, Penn is probably not the place for you. They definitely have club teams that you can join. We definitely have intramural tennis, basketball, soccer, that type of thing. I don't personally play any sports here at Penn, but I know a lot of people who do, and they have a lot of fun with it. I applied to a lot of schools, actually. I applied to 13 schools. I applied to a bunch of other Ivy League schools, including Harvard, Yale, Brown, Columbia, etc. And I also applied to Michigan. I applied to Berkeley, and I applied to Georgetown. My top choices were Harvard or Yale or Michigan. And Penn obviously was one of my top choices as well. I chose Penn because I was debating between Penn, Michigan, and Berkeley, and Penn seemed to give me the greatest flexibility in terms of skill set that I could acquire before graduating. I only applied to Penn for business school, actually. For all of my other schools, I applied as an international relations major. My dad was the one who really wanted me to apply to Wharton, and I was pretty adamant about doing international relations, so this program, the Huntsman Program, which allows me to major in international studies and business, was our compromise. And so my deal was that I would not go to Penn if I didn't get into Huntsman. I would not go to just the Wharton school. And after I got into Huntsman, I went to Penn for Huntsman Day, which is a preview day for students who got into Huntsman. And so, I got to meet a lot of the other prospective freshmen. I got to stay in the dorms for one night with a freshman student. I got to speak to a lot of current students and alumni who talked about what they did after they went to school, what they liked about the school, and what I realized was that just because you major in business doesn't mean that you have to do business, or just because you do IR doesn't mean you have to go into government. And it was really great to see that a lot of the students who had come out of the Huntsman program actually went on to med school or started NGOs, and it just made me feel a lot better about choosing something where it was so professionally focused. Definitely the international studies and business thing showed that I could have a skill set that was quite unique and quite interesting compared to other people. Also, I was able to pursue my intellectual passion while obtaining a very practical skill set for the job market, for my future, which I could apply to whatever I wanted to, which I thought was really great. My test scores, I took both the SAT and the ACT. I scored better on the SAT than the ACT. My ACT score was a 32, and my SAT scores, my math was a 790, and verbal and writing were both 720. I took a few subject tests. I took the chemistry subject test, which I got a 760, and my math subject test, I took the math 2 subject test and got a 780. I also took the Japanese subject test and got a 790. My academic profile pre-college, I had a 3.9 GPA at school, but I was definitely not in the top 5% of my school. I definitely did not get all A's. I got quite a few B's while I was in high school. I think that I definitely focused a lot more on extracurriculars and a lot more in the community service that I was doing, which probably outweighed the grades, which were not perfect, which it's definitely very true that most kids that apply to Ivy League schools or top tier schools have that 4.0 GPA. In high school, the activities that interested me were community service or international service on a much bigger scale, nonprofit work, and social entrepreneurship, which right now I am definitely doing at college with my Rotaract Club, which I talked about, and also my freshman summer I worked at a social enterprise, which was really, really fun. The enterprise was in China, in Shanghai, and it was an international company which sourced yak fiber from these yak herders in Western China and allowed them to have this sustainable, constant source of employment, which they hadn't had before, and also took a lot of the profits from this yak fiber, which they made into yarn and clothing and accessories. The profits went to the healthcare of these citizens, and it was really just really awesome to work for an enterprise with such great goals and such great philosophies. It was really great to see a real social enterprise in action and actually be part of it. I think the kind of person that makes the right fit for Penn and actually the Huntsman program in general is somebody who is looking for a very professional skill set and a very practical skill set, but also is interested in international or multicultural events or histories, also looking to speak or debate with lots of different types of people, definitely somebody who comes from a background that is unique, that is different from other people, somebody who is interested in learning new languages, somebody who wants to study abroad because that's a requirement, and somebody who would adapt to different situations or different environments quickly. What the admissions committee liked about my application, one is my international background. I come from a pretty multicultural family. I grew up speaking Japanese to my mom and Chinese to my dad. I spend almost every summer in Japan going to public school or doing some type of volunteer work, and then going to Taiwan to see my grandparents. I think that the other thing that got them excited was my leadership activities and volunteer activities in high school. Like I said, I was much more into extracurriculars than I was in my academics. And so I did a lot of large-scale volunteer projects that I think probably caught the application committee or admissions committee's attention because it is a business school, and so they are definitely looking for leaders. I think I fit in the Huntsman program because my background is kind of different, and also I love learning new languages. I love doing international things. I love traveling. I love eating different foods. And so I think I'm quite open to different perspectives, and I also think I have a unique perspective on a lot of issues because my family is multicultural. And I think that for people looking to apply to my college, it's great to push the international factor if you have one. If not, try to factor in how much you like international things, because I think that's definitely a plus. Definitely, if you are looking to learn a new language, or if you are learning a language right now, it's great to have a language that is different from your familial heritage, because that definitely makes you look more international and more attractive to the admissions committee. I think also doing a lot of volunteer work and doing a lot of leadership activities is great. Take on a lot of leadership roles, show that you're proactive, and show that you do a lot more than just the bare minimum, and that you can convince others to do the same, which I think is quite important. And that's it. Thank you so much, and I hope you apply to my school, and I hope that this has helped you.